Imagine that 6ix9ine single quotes comment that Gunna is more dangerous than Young Thug has caused the entire rap scene to halt, with blogs buzzing and lights blinking. Yes, you heard correctly. Now, the man who discovered half the industry is alerting the world to another. You may use a subpoena to break through the irony. In addition to hurling insults, 6ix9ine set the entire block on fire. He claimed that Gunna is the most strategic player in the game, and that he is not merely a fake. A Balenciaga-clad Volf, silently plotting while grinning for the cameras. You can't make this up. So picture Gunna lounging in an opulent studio while 6ix9ine, who is hiding someplace, yells into a microphone about the real danger. Mixtape out of testimony now says he's exposing corruption in the field. The topic that is dividing the internet is whether 6ix9ine is revealing the truth at last, or whether he is merely rambling to keep his popularity. This isn't simply a dispute if what he's implying is accurate. It's betrayal, image manipulation, and the biggest twist in contemporary rap culture. The YSL trial appears to be a talent show because of what's about to happen. This narrative is about to take hip-hop from the courtroom to the charts. So fasten your seatbelt. The internet as a whole gasped as 6ix9ine opened his mouth this time. This was a full-fledged verbal brawl directed directly at Gunna, not your typical rainbow-haired breakdown or trolling for clicks event. He called him worse than Young Thug, and it wasn't just any insult. Take a moment to process that. The man who wore the designation of rat like designer merchandise while testifying in court is now claiming that someone else poses a greater threat to hip-hop. A nuclear reactor might be powered by the sheer boldness. It all began when a clip of 6ix9ine going off in a live interview was leaked online. The host posed a straightforward query: "Do you still believe that Gunna snitched?" That was all that was required. "Nah, Gunna's worse than Thug," 6ix9ine added, leaning forward and smiling. "Thug is a criminal. Gunna? He is a cunning person. Dangerous kind." That single remark sent shockwaves through the rap community on Twitter, shade room comments, and even Reddit conspiracy threads. Smiles in your face while he sells out the culture. Wait, did 6ix9ine just call someone else dangerous? Everyone asked. This is when things become complicated. Because instead of merely laughing, people began to investigate. Overnight, fans became FBI agents according to court documents, old interviews, and lyrics. In a lengthy breakdown video, one TikToker even claimed that Gunna's innocent-seeming persona is a smokescreen, and that he acts like a corporate spy in the rap business. Crazy, huh? However, the internet goes into overdrive once it picks up a theory. 6ix9ine, meanwhile, doubled down. He claimed that Gunna's entire persona, that swagger, that cool voice, and that drip is a facade. He referred to it as a public relations weapon, claiming that Gunna plays both sides by mingling with street legends and shaking hands with record executives who wished to dilute the culture. Fans couldn't stop watching, despite the irony of 6ix9ine's remarks regarding authenticity. The worst part is that 6ix9ine's tirade wasn't arbitrary. It happened immediately after Gunna's name surfaced in fresh debates on the YSL case, when supporters questioned if Gunna's Alford plea still qualified as cooperation. Since he left, rumors have been circulating around the streets. Did Gunna snitch or not? When 6ix9ine intervened, however, it went beyond the law. He made it into a full-fledged moral defense. While blacklisting him for doing the same thing they covertly support behind closed doors, he criticized the whole rap industry for protecting fake loyalty. The response of the internet? Anarchy. Compared to 6ix9ine's rainbow wigs, memes spread more quickly. Another joke included Gunna photoshopped onto a chessboard with the statement, "Strategic betrayal level. Gunna unlocked." Another meme saw 6ix9ine holding a microphone in one hand and a court transcript in the other, with the caption, "The snitch calling the kettle a rat." However, people began to ask more profound questions underlying the humor. Is 6ix9ine right on the money? Is it possible that Gunna is skillfully integrating corporate sponsorships with street credibility, acting like a silent billionaire while feigning calmness and unconcernedness? Every blog wrote about it. It was transformed into a 2-hour broadcast by DJ Academics. The video was played on Vlad TV as if it were a presidential leak. Even casual fans who hadn't listened to a rap song in years suddenly had thoughts about Gunna versus Thug versus Tekashi when the story went viral so quickly. Gunna Dangerous was popular on X by midnight. What about the wild part? Gunna remained silent throughout. Nothing, not a story, not a tweet. Naturally, his silence simply made the situation worse. Because quiet equates to guilt according to online thinking. What about 6ix9ine? He was enjoying it, publishing articles such as, "You guys realize the truth now?" while wearing fancy sunglasses and grinning like the Joker, the truth that unnerved everyone. Though, is that 6ix9ine wasn't only trolling this time. He spoke in a different tone. He spoke too deliberately and too calmly. For views, it wasn't only mayhem. He sounded like a man who wanted everyone to believe that he knew something. Then rumors began to circulate that perhaps 6ix9ine had receipts. Perhaps there is video. Perhaps a message, a contract, or a phone call demonstrates that Gunna has been manipulating both sides of the business. The scene was prepared. Rappers taking sides, blogs refreshing every 5 seconds for the next post, and split fans. The internet was prepared with popcorn. Because this was now more than simply a feud. It was a morality battle between two of the most divisive personalities in contemporary rap. Nobody was prepared for what transpired next. Though, as more rappers joined in, allegations replaced memes. And the entire story was completely appended the following morning. The internet awoke as if it were hip-hop's Judgment Day. The identical title was yelling from every gossip page. Meme account and YouTuber with a microphone and a thumbnail template. 6ix9ine calls Gunna worse than Thug. There was complete chaos in the comment sections. The craziness didn't end there, though. One user said, "This is like a rat calling cheese toxic." Another quipped, "If hypocrisy were a person, it would have rainbow hair." It was just getting started because celebs began commenting as soon as the video became viral. And things took a completely other path. Naturally, Boosie came off first. There's no way 6ix9ine is talking about nobody being dangerous. That boy is dangerous to himself. He wrote in a video that he uploaded. The internet exploded. Then, in an attempt to appear impartial, Academics, who was posing as the referee of a rap feud, added gasoline to the flames by saying, 6ix9ine got a point though. Gunna walked free and everyone pretending it didn't happen. Explain it, please. All of a sudden, it was more than simply a quarrel. It was an argument. Nobody knew who he was referring to. But the timing was clear when Meek Mill tweeted, "It's always the loudest clown talking the most truth." In just a few minutes, the tweet received 100,000 likes. And admirers deluged Gunna's comments with questions such, "So what's actually good? What about Gunna?" Still no word. The Nobel Peace Prize should go to the man's public relations team. There were only picture shoots, business partnerships, and cryptic messages like "move in peace" instead of tweets, subtweets, or passive-aggressive Instagram captions, which only increased suspicion. Everyone was whispering, "Does he know something we don't?" in response to the quiet assurance. 6ix9ine, meanwhile, was relishing every moment of the mayhem.
He began sharing evidence in the form of screenshots.
Old direct messages and cryptic posts that said things like, "Watch who you trust, they in suits now." It was vintage 6ix9ine. A blend of truth and trolling that made it difficult to distinguish between the expose and the joke. Fans were unable to discern whether he was rapping or confessing when he even released a freestyle clip with the bar that said, "They freed the snake, but caged the truth. Smile in Dior, but bite in the booth." However, the unexpected turn of events occurred when an old YSL associate went live on Instagram and stated that 6ix9ine wasn't totally incorrect. According to the man, Gunna's post-incarceration image transformation was industry-engineered rather than merely organic. Since record firms sought a safe street artist who could appeal to suburban kids without the ugly headlines. And you know what? Gunna was a fantastic fit. His energy was clean, yet he had street connections. Style above crime. The label did a fantastic job spinning that story. The internet was struck like an asteroid by this discovery. 6ix9ine's crazy rant didn't sound that crazy all of a sudden. Wait, so Gunna is industry approved? Commented one commenter. Others countered that Gunna's successful rebranding was simply jealousy. In any case, the argument descended into online combat. Both teams had receipts, theories, and far too much free time.
Team Tekashi was screaming fake gangster, while Team Gunna was screaming jealous rat.
The memes then advanced in level. The Shade Room had to intervene and say, "We don't know who's worse, the accuser or the accused." Another viral post featured 6ix9ine with binoculars outside of Gunna's mansion. Captioned, "The truth seeker in his natural habitat." Another featured Gunna wearing a halo, with the caption, "Saint Gunna, forgive us for our sins of snitching. Forgive us for our sins of snitching." Fans outside of the hip-hop community, however, had the most bizarre response. Pop culture aficionados, gossip bloggers, and even political pundits began to weigh in. The internet had transformed it into a carnival, and everyone wanted front row seats. One commenter tweeted, "6ix9ine calling Gunna dangerous is like Kanye calling someone unstable. You just have to laugh before it ruins your day." The problem is that 6ix9ine wasn't giving up for once. He usually causes mayhem and disappears, but this time he persisted. He said, "You guys act like Gunna innocent," during another live session. Because he is profitable, the industry is shielding him. Fans began asking questions that labels didn't want to answer, and it was pure pandemonium fuel. "They hate me because I'm uncontrollable." The actual panic behind the scenes began at that point. According to insiders, PR communications began to vanish, and some blogs were instructed to cool down the Gunna talk. For whatever reason, certain posts were removed. The energy surrounding the conspiracy skyrocketed. Rumors began to circulate that Gunna was being shielded by money rather than by his admirers. 6ix9ine couldn't help but gloat. As usual, the man was enjoying the pandemonium like a reptile under a heat lamp when he posted, "Told y'all, when I speak, the truth gets deleted." This was now a sociological experiment rather than merely a dispute. Fans came to the shocking realization that 6ix9ine and Gunna had both perfected the same tactic, using controversy to stay relevant through marketing. 6ix9ine employed noise as his weapon, whereas Gunna used silence. 6ix9ine sold anarchy. Gunna sold luxury. Two sides of a poisonous coin, and the energy of the internet changed as word of this discovery spread. The question was no longer, who is the genuine snitch? It was which manipulator is superior? Gunna, with his opulent composure and PR armor, or 6ix9ine with his blustery brilliance and lack of inhibition? One episode away from a complete explosion, the rap game appeared to be a reality program. Everyone was aware that a larger event was imminent. And when it did, it would reveal not just 6ix9ine or Gunna, but the entire apparatus that feeds controversy for clicks and money, because the people who were truly winning were the ones who were counting streams. Even as fans quarreled and rappers took sides. Every meme, every repost, and every diss all generated revenue. The industry only cared about who trended longer, not who snitched. The tone shifted at that point. Someone who used to remain silent during every YSL conversation suddenly spoke up. And someone who was not meant to talk. However, everything the internet believed to be true was completely turned upside down when they did. The largest bomb dropped just as the smoke was beginning to subside. When a source close to Young Thug's team eventually spoke up, their words completely changed the course of the discussion. This insider claims that Thug had been silently observing the mayhem from his jail cell, and that he simply grinned when 6ix9ine made the comment that Gunna was worse than Thug. Yes, I did laugh. The fact that two artists known for their drama were suddenly fighting over who was the biggest snitch seemed to amuse the man sitting in the heart of one of the most significant RICO cases in hip-hop history. The internet was torn between laughing and crying. However, that's when the rumors began to become real receipts. Someone was heard discussing Gunna's image rebuild plan in a voice memo that purportedly came from an old industry meeting that no one is supposed to record. What was it about? Too crazy to ignore. They allegedly discussed rebranding Gunna as a neutral figure, someone who might draw in mainstream businesses and diffuse tensions in the rap industry. If accurate, this was masterful manipulation rather than merely marketing. Suddenly, 6ix9ine's wild tirade began to seem like a perverted prophecy. Once more, the internet broke in two. The middle ground? Team 6ix9ine stated, "No, that's fake loyalty, industry engineering at its finest." Team Gunna said, "That's just good business. Everyone reinvents themselves." Not at all. Because at this time, every fan had the impression that they were seeing a reality show that was paranoid and manufactured by Netflix. Still mute, Gunna eventually shared a single picture. No caption, just guy eating caviar while wearing fancy shades, obviously unconcerned. Another outburst was brought on by that one picture. Shade, according to fans. One blogger remarked, "At this point, Gunna could post a banana and 6ix9ine would call it coded." Symbolism. Other blogs referred to it as a silent response, while 6ix9ine labeled it a distraction. The narrative surprise that no one anticipated is that 6ix9ine's truth crusade backfired. Fans began to notice something strange as he continued to drop exposes. In reality, his receipts proved nothing. It began to feel like a man trying too hard to be the hero of a movie that no one asked for. With screenshots including clipped names and ambiguous posts with dramatic captions. People began to chuckle more and more as he spoke. Even his ardent supporters said, "Yo, maybe skip this one." In the meantime, Gunna's numbers began to rise once more. Flows upward. Fashion collaborations have resumed. Brand slips back into his direct messages in silence. It turns out that being silent is not only advantageous but also rewarding. The mayhem of 6ix9ine became the advertisement for Gunna. Gunna appeared more composed as Tekashi shouted more. And more people began to see him as the victim rather than the bad guy. However, the tale did not stop there. Because all of a sudden, certain industry insiders began to speak, without identifying themselves, and assert that the same machine was playing both performers. The same media circuits that live on scandal, the same executives, and the same platforms. "You think these beefs are real?" they asked. The thought struck me hard. What if 6ix9ine and Gunna were merely two sides of the same coin? Half of them are campaigns. One sells anger, while the other sells atonement. Both clicks are equivalent. Both are equivalent to money. It seemed as if the curtain had fallen when fans understood that. The delusion broke. The crowd burst out laughing, not at 6ix9ine or Gunna, but at the entire circus of the industry. Because it's all neon-colored marketing when you take away the drama, the yelling, and the viral videos. The allegiance discussion, the real versus fake arguments. And the snitch jokes are all attempts to get people to interact, never one to accept defeat in silence. 6ix9ine attempted to turn the tide. 2 days later, he released a new song called Industry Inmates. The hook? "You just got better contracts, you ain't free." People couldn't tell if this was a sign of desperation or genius. There was no need to reply, thus Gunna's camp did not. Each stream, repost, and thought piece demonstrated that the war had been won by silence. The biggest sting, though, was when Young Thug's sister unexpectedly entered the conversation. "All of you are fighting online about loyalty, but my brother is in jail, and none of you are doing anything," she said live. Boom, that's the true fake energy. The internet went down. The drama stopped feeling hilarious for the first time. It was heavy, hollow, and depressing. Like watching a clown cry at the end of a performance. Because in the end, 6ix9ine wasn't the bad guy. Gunna was not perfect. They were only mirror images of a business that values noise above facts. And that insight struck more forcefully than any diss song could. This is hip-hop though. The show never stops. Another leak surfaced a week later, this time involving a studio altercation. A collapsing project that never materialized, and yet another layer of tangled secrets that were poised to blow out. Because scandal is the oxygen of the rap industry, and as long as people continue to consume it, new headlines will continue to emerge, and that's both its blessing and its drawback. The criminal of today becomes the victim of tomorrow. The revolutionary of tomorrow is today's rat. Fans cheer, the business swirls, and somewhere, 6ix9ine is laughing because he wins even when he loses. The game simply became louder. It didn't alter. One thing is certain, regardless of your opinion of him, the internet pays attention to 6ix9ine's speech. Even if it acts otherwise, the most unpredictable cast in hip-hop history is back for another day. Another collapse, and another digital circus. In deliberate silence, Gunna avoided the verbal explosives thrown by 6ix9ine, and the internet transformed it into a championship battle for clicks. The true surprise, though, is that none of this has to do with right or wrong. It's all about who can make the drama seem nice on camera, who can cry realness louder, and who can trend for the longest. You're not here for justice, let's face it. When the career of your favorite artist becomes a Netflix plot twist, you're here for the chaos, the receipts, the screenshots, and the feeling. Don't pretend to be innocent. Like the rest of us, you thrive on this lunacy, and guess what? I learned more about that because the next scandal is already developing, and believe me, it's wilder than this one. So hit subscribe like you're signing a record contract. Slam the like button like it owes you money, and switch on those alerts. Another public execution in the comments section is just one tweet. One leak and one ego trip away. Please share your comments here. Who do you think? Is 6ix9ine the loud prophet that no one wants to acknowledge, or is Gunna the silent snake? On a scale of 0 to Vlad TV exclusive, drama is being graded. Feel free to express yourself in the comments, but keep it light, and keep in mind that the truth doesn't just surface here. It leaks, trends, and then disappears. This is the Soul Loca. This is the Soul Loca.